You're listening to Mr. Boxing Today.
Heavyweight boxing fans, what's the deal? All right, man. So in the next upcoming weeks, we're gonna have 5 undefeated heavyweight, prospect guys that are trying to work their way up the ladder to get to contender status. They'll be in action. 2 of these fights, well, 3 of these fights actually will be on Showtime on 2 different cards. But let's go over these fights, man. Dominic Gwynn will be taking on Junior Fa. That fight will be on Showtime. As you see here, that fight will be taking place in the June 28th, man. So not too long here, that fight will be taking place. Look, Junior Fa is going to go in there against Dominic Gwynn. Gwynn is a guy that knows how to survive, man. You look at his record here, 37 wins, 12 losses. We know Gwynn has been in there with some of who's who, right? He's been in there with guys like Pulev, Arthur Spilka. Tony Thompson. The list just goes on and on, man. You see with the 12 losses, he's never been knocked out. He is formidable. He's been in a lot of training camps over the years. I know a few years back here, he was in a Povetkin training camp. Jennings was in that camp as well. I forgot who Povetkin was training for, but maybe it was maybe when he was in preparation first of Vern. We know that fight didn't take place. We know that Duopa was replacement first of Vern, but Gwynn will put up the high guard. He'll you get off your punches, he'll get off his. Keeps a tight defense. It's hard to stop him because usually he's standing there with the high guard. He's able to absorb whatever you have, and he has a pretty good chin. All right, and he's not too offensive, so he's not really giving you opportunities to counter him either. You know what I mean? So his last couple of fights have been in there with Journeyman, but when he stepped in there, I know his last notable fight was against Spilka. But when he gets in there with those type of level guys, he usually loses those fights by decision. All right. So he is 44 years old. I expect Junior Fa to go in there, man, and try to just overwhelm him. Last time we seen Junior Fa, he was in action against Nufel Aota. He took care of business in that fight. That was a couple months ago. Just try to overwhelm Gwynn, man. Try to open him up with the jab and try to throw, hooks around Gwynn's guard, because I know Gwynn most likely is going to come out in the high guard and ready to absorb and take the shots and then try to come up out of that shell. So try to punch through and around his guard. Try to mix it up to the body. Maybe Gwynn to drop his hands a little bit and give you, expose his chin a little bit. Maybe Fa can catch him like that. But I think Fa should, try to go in there and get the win. That's first and foremost. Just get the win. All right. Nobody's been able to knock this guy out ever. Get the win. But he is 44 years old. Maybe you can do something on Showtime that's never been done to Gwynn, although 44, and that's knock him out. All right. So I expect Fa to go in there, let his hands go, man. You're the much bigger, fresher, younger fighter. Go in there, let your hands go. Try to open up that defense. Let's see if he can penetrate that defense, that shell, and let's see if he can get a knockout in impressive fashion. All right, Gwynn, as far as him, come out that shell, throwing big right hands and big left hooks. Try to spark an upset if he can. All right, maybe try to work behind his jab and try to surprise Fa. Have Fa thinking that I'm gonna just stay in the high guard and try to surprise him. All right. Next on the list, July 12th. We're going to have Ivan Dychko taking on the veteran Rafael Zambunu-Love. Zambunu-Love has dropped his last 3 fights. He was in there with Filip Hrgovic, Ustinov, and Otto Wallin. The last 2 against Hrgovic and Ustinov, he got stopped in the first round. Then he took Otto Wallin 10 rounds in the decision. I expect Dychko to win this, 2-time Olympic medalist. He's going to use his height, going to use his reach, and try to peck away from the outside, look for the right hand, look for the left hook, tie up on the inside. Once the ref breaks him, get back to his jab. That's pretty much the rhythm and style that he fights in. Zambunu-Love. You look, man, when I was breaking down some Andrew Ruiz tape going into the fight with AJ, I went and revisited the Love versus Ruiz fight. Now, obviously, Ruiz won the fight, but Love had some he was able to land some good right hands on Ruiz in that fight, man. He actually did let his hands go, but we know Ruiz is a much better fighter than Zambunu-Love. Walked him down, got him up out of there, all right? But hey, man, at this point in Zambunu-Love's career, just kind of like Gwynn, just try to let big right hands go, work behind your jab. Just let your hands go, throwing big left hooks, big right hands. Try to catch Dychko when he's backing up. and when he's fighting kind of with his hands down. All right. But Love can, Dychko can mix it up, throw the uppercut. But I'm looking for him to peck away with the jab, land the right hand, hooks, tie him up, uppercuts here and there, and just overwhelm him. All right. Also, you got Tony Yoka taking on Alexander Dimitrenko. That fight's going down July 13th. Interesting fight right here, man. Dimitrenko, last we seen him in the ring, he was, facing the unified champion. Well, he wasn't champion in, but after that fight, he beat AJ. He was in the ring with Andrew Ruiz Jr. And before that, Dimitrenko was in the ring with Jennings. Now, he was able to drop Jennings, hurt Jennings, had a pretty entertaining fight with Jennings. He ended up getting stopped in that fight. You could probably question the stoppage, but he got stopped in that fight. If anything, Dimitrenko could still punch hard. All right. The last big victory for him, in my opinion, was the fight he had against Adrian Granat. And he also beat, what was the other guys? Rob Cannon. He got a victory in that fight. Fight was pretty interesting, man. But he got a victory in that fight. So his last two fights against prospect level guys, he actually won those fights. Like I said, if there's one thing that Dimitrenko still can do, he still can punch. He's still a big guy in there, man. So if you let him, you know what I mean, be able to get some shots off and trade with him, maybe Yoka, maybe get in a situation with Yoka where him and Yoka are going at it, and him and Yoka are going at it, and they're starting to trade right hands. Maybe get in a situation like that. Tony Yoka has been going to be in the ring. It's his first time being in the ring in like a year. They matched him well so far. He's been in there with tough journeyman level guys like Jonathan Rice. His last win was against Dave Allen. So, they got him in there, with some decent opponents. Now he's going against a guy like Dimitrenko. A guy like Dimitrenko who's been in there with some top class fighters, like Andrew Ruiz and Pulev and, was in there with Jennings and so on and so forth. But I see Yoka using his speed, firing from the outside, quick combinations. Only thing that gets Yoka in trouble sometimes, he'll go high guard. Sometimes he'll stand on the inside, kind of in the twilight zone, no man's land, as I call it, where he's really not all the way on the outside, but he's not all the way on the inside. And that's where I think he could be most vulnerable. Maybe Dimitrenko could land a big right hand through the guard right there. But again, like a lot of these guys that aren't the favorite, just go in there with the mindset that you want to be aggressive, man, and let your hands go and throw your money punches, man. Dimitrenko, in my opinion, his is his straight right hand and his left hook, or any type of right hand and then his left hook. All right, so but I expect Yoka to win this fight against Dimitrenko. Next, you got BJ Flores will be taking on my man Otto Wallin. All right, now interesting fight, man. BJ Flores, last we seen Flores in the ring. By the way, this fight will be taking place July 12th, and it will be on Showtime. All right, but before I get to the just Wallin and Flores card or fight, you got Jermaine Franklin also on that card taking on Jerry Forrest. Now, this would be the second card in a row. The last card that they were both on, Franklin and Wallin, were a couple months ago. But, Franklin had took on Booker and Rydell Booker, and Otto Wallin took on Nick Kisner. That fight with Nick Kisner was stopped due to a head clash in the first round. So it was kind of, bittersweet U.S. debut for Otto Wallin. But I wonder if Showtime is going to possibly try to match these guys up along the way later on in the future. Will we see an Otto Wallin versus Jermaine Franklin fight? You know what I mean? If they're still undefeated, we will see. But this is the second card in a row where there will be the two feature fights. All right. But yeah, Otto Wallin versus BJ Flores. Last time I seen Flores in the ring, he was getting dominated by Trevor Bryan. He had the fight with Tony Bellew not long ago. I mean, I really don't see BJ Flores winning this fight against Wallin. I think Wallin will come out aggressive. He came out aggressive in his last fight that I was a little bit surprised, because usually he's a southpaw. He likes to move and box a little bit. But he came forward aggressive against Nick Kisner using his jab, trying to walk him down with the jab and land the left hand behind it. All right, so I believe he'll come out aggressive against BJ Flores. BJ Flores been in there. He was a decent cruiserweight. He had some fights at heavyweight, but I don't really see him posing a threat. You dig what I'm saying? Now, Otto Wallin, as far as weight, he isn't a huge heavyweight. He isn't like, 260 pounds or anything like that. But I think he has enough pop, good boxing skills, and I think he's a fresher fighter. And BJ Flores has trouble going on his back foot, in my opinion. And I think Otto Wallin will try to be an aggressor. Maybe Forrest can catch him with a counter. Probably try to bait Otto Wallin in and catch him off guard with something. Try to turn the tide that way. But I see Otto Wallin outboxing BJ Flores and possibly getting a stoppage in this fight. All right. Last but not least, you got Jermaine Franklin taking on Jerry Forrest. Now this is gonna be interesting, man. This right here is an interesting fight because Jerry Forrest, I think he's coming in like on an 18 fight win streak or something like that. He's a southpaw. He's a shorter heavyweight. You see, he does have the 2 losses, 1 KO losses. 1 KO loss was against Gerald Washington. That fight is here on YouTube. Washington caught him with a right hand, and then he followed up with another series of punches and another right hand, and he did knock Forrest out. All right. Wanted to see how that fight would have played out had it went a little bit longer, but it didn't. It's heavyweight division. You get caught, shit, you get knocked out. You dig what I'm saying? But and his other lone loss was to Michael Hunter by decision. All right, so his 2 losses was against some named guys, some decent fighters. Forrest has a lot of fights on YouTube. The Coleman fight. He has a few different fights on YouTube. I can't remember every single guy, every single name, but I watched a few of his fights. Majority of everything that's on YouTube of him, I watched it. He likes to peck away with his lead hand, his right jab. He wants to find a home for his left hand, whether it's an uppercut, a straight left, but he likes to walk you down. He's patient a little bit, but he wants to walk you down and catch you with something. You know what I mean? So maybe that will give Jermaine Franklin an opportunity, who's a good counterpuncher, good patient counterpuncher, can fight off the back foot a little bit. When I say fight off the back foot, I don't mean moving around like Larry Holmes or Ali, but I mean taking steps back, half steps back, taking a step back and then pivoting and turn to the left or right. He's good. He's really good at doing that. Maybe he can catch Forrest with stiff, hard single counters and then open him up and start letting his hands go and start to throw his combinations after that. But I think this may be the fight of the night on this card, Franklin versus Forrest. All right. Hey, man, y'all let me know what you think about these 5 upcoming fights. Let me know what you think in the comment section, y'all. I'm gone.